Alright, we're underneath the rocker panel here. Just a little update. Where my finger is, right here, you can see it's a little bit darker. That's a low spot. And so what I'm doing is something I learned at the body shop. I'm using heat, and I'm heating this area up, and then I'm knocking it down a little bit, and then I'm using water to quench it. So what happens is, when you heat it up, it's going to swell, which means it's going to go up deeper, and I'm quenching it from the top, so I'm heating it from the top as well. And when you you tap it down a little bit, and I'm using very mild heat. I'm using a propane torch. A lot of guys use oxyacetylene torches. But anyway, then when you quench it, it shrinks the metal back down the way you want it. You just a little bit at a time, and moves the metal just a little bit, and I'm trying to finesse it just enough to get it to where I can get it close. Right now it's real close, but I'm trying to get it even closer than it is now. Obviously these areas over here I'm gonna have to work them too. I've used a sanding block right here, which I don't know if you can see this, but anyway, this is where the metal should be, and then that's a low spot. So my son's been watching these videos, and he said I'm not very good with the camera. Basically, I move around a lot, but until I get something better, tripod or something, that's just the way I'm gonna have to do it. So bear with me. Alright. The propane torch. Set the camera right here. Hopefully I can get it to where you can see it. Kind of prop it up. Actually, if I start beating on that where it's sitting right now, it's going to knock the camera off. So, let me see. Well, basically what I'm doing, heating this little area. This is my high spot area. Low spot underneath. Heating that up a little bit, and then I run out of propane. I'm tilting my bottle too much. Alright. Heat it up a little bit. Pretty hot. Woo! Okay, it's real hot. And now I'm going to move the camera for a second while I hit this. Alright, I just hit down on it. I've got this basically soaked with water, and I'm putting it on top of it after I've hammered down on it. And what we're trying to do is get that metal to shrink back down a little bit lower than it was to get that dent out of there. It feels like I'm getting pretty close. There's just a little tiny area that I'm probably gonna have to work just a little bit more, but that's an idea for moving metal and taking dents out, especially in something like this. It's this thick that you can't really get onto it like you need to with the dolly and everything. Alright, that's the dent I'm working. Right there you can see no light between the straight edge and the panel. As I move it, see the light just starting to peep through a little bit, and then as I get across the dent, it's going to start to close. Okay, So I go back ever so slightly, a little bit more light there. That's a dent. I mean, we're talking, gosh, probably not even a 1/16. I'm going to work it out a little bit more, and that's going to be really close. One thing I want to say though, contrary to a lot of people I hear talking about Bondo or fillers, Bondo is just a name brand for a filler. You know, no one wants Bondo in their cars. Oh, I want it all metal. Well, you can't do that. I mean, I guess technically you can if you want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. But to get a panel perfectly straight, you have to use some fillers. Now, this right here is what people are scared of, and they should be. That's horrible. I mean, they've packed, that's close to an 1/8 inch of, or probably a 1/4 inch of Bondo or more packed in here. That's what you don't want. Now that's almost abusing it. Well, it is. You just want a skim coat, just enough to fill in the imperfections. You know, you want to get the metal as straight as possible, and then, you know, use your skim coat, and you're going to sand most of that off. Now this, they didn't do that. That's ridiculous, and that's what you get. That's why people are scared of fillers. Well, if you use them correctly, fillers will last forever. Fillers will outlast the car. I mean, they're plastic, so you use them right, and you won't go wrong. But if you do that, that's what's going to happen to your car. You're going to have big rust holes. You know, you're going to have your fillers. I don't know if the camera will show that, but this is cracked really bad. And they start cracking out, and that, you know, comes through to your paint. So you don't want to do that. So that's why we're going to replace that whole panel with new sheet metal. But even the new sheet metal that I'm going to replace it with, I'm going to have to put a skim coat of filler because there's imperfections in the metal. And let me show you what I'm talking about. It'll be kind of hard to tell. This is a new aftermarket panel. And if I can get in the light just right, you'll be able to see the imperfections that I'm talking about. Maybe. Like there's a high spot there. There's a low spot right through here. And like I said, I don't know if the camera is really showing that. Just where they've molded it, there's a little dent right there, and there's a bunch of lines coming up, so you can feel it with your hand. That's a brand new panel. Well, if you were just to prime that and paint it, it's going to be wavy. It's not going to look good, and you're going to go, wow, that car looks horrible. So you put a skim coat of filler on it, and all that skim coat's going to do, this metal here is perfect. This metal here is a little bit damaged. So it's just gonna fill that imperfection in. That's all you're gonna see is just that little, and then it'll blend that all in nice and smooth. Your car will be straight and will look beautiful. Like I said, I think a lot of people have a misconception because, you know, years and years ago, and probably even still today, somebody, you know, some, you know, guys do it, pack this stuff in like this that don't know what they're doing. But yeah, you can't do that. Well, you can obviously, but it's not going to last very long. So just a little heads up on the filler issue, Bondo issue, whatever you want to call it. That's what happens when you pack it in. But again, you see a lot of these good show cars, or even, you know, nice daily driver cars. Yeah, they've got filler in them. They have to, or otherwise they'd be super wavy and they look like crap. So there you go. If anybody wants to comment and tell me different, I'm all ears. But in my experience, that's how it works. Even here, there's a bunch of, almost looks like sand scratches, or I don't know what it'd be from. Probably for where they pressed it in the mold. So yeah, all that stuff's got to be filled in. There's a dent right there. I mean, this is a brand new panel, so it's going to require quite a bit of work. Right here, let's see. Right here's a little spot where they pressed something when the mold. Oh, they've got underneath here. There's a. Let's see if I can show you that. See that little deal right there, little brace. Well, they spot welded it right here. Well, that spot weld pressed the metal up right there. So now I've got a high spot right there. Well, that's just the way it is. It's just how they're doing it. So, I mean, we take what we can get. Unless you can find a Camaro donor that's not all rusted out already, you know. When you get new panels like this, that's what you have to deal with. So, yeah, I wish it was easy as just slapping it on, slapping all the panels on and being done with it, but it's not. You've got to fix every panel individually. So anyway, there you go. There's my rant about fillers. All right, I got tired of working on the floor, so put the car up on the lift, pulled the front clip off, pulled the door off, so I could access this a little better. I wasn't really getting the fine details that I needed to, laying on my side and trying to hit it from underneath and all that. So now I'll be able to access this area a lot easier. Anyway, so it's a whole lot better than it was. It still needs some little tweaking here and there. Like I said, those low spots and a couple of high spots here and there, but now at least I'll be able to get to it and get that worked out, and then I can weld that upper panel back in. But yeah, hopefully this will, and I can also, this thing here was bent pretty good, so you know, I'll be able to not have to lay on my side to get to work that out. So probably should have done it when I started, but I figured I'd try it the hard way first. And then the only issue I have with this is these arms get in the way of a lot of stuff. Luckily they're not really too much in the way of the rocker, but a lot of times when you're working on stuff with these, they tend to want to get in the way. But when I'm doing the panels and stuff, I'll put it on the floor, because you don't want this being a unibody car. You don't want it up in the air. You want it sitting on its axles. So, but once I get it all set up and get it to where I want it and get the new panels on it, then I can do the body work with it up in the air and not have to, you know, be on my knees on the concrete and that type of thing. So it'll be nice. So there you go. Like I said, they put new floor pans in it already, and it looks like they did a really good job. So don't have to mess with that. Well, I'm gonna get back on it. Alright, so I ran out of propane in my little tank that I was heating that up with. This right here is your regular oxygen acetylene cutting torch. Cut serious metal. Don't want to use that because I'm not interested in cutting that. This is its baby brother. It's a Miko. I think that's how they say it. Anyway, it's tiny, and I've actually used this to weld metal together. I'm not very good at it, but it can be done. It's old school. But anyway, this little guy works pretty good. There you go. You can just tip down. Anyway, gives you an idea. Do some fine, and this is really small, so you can get in tight places. All I want to do is just barely heat this up. Just enough to get it hot to where I can move it. You're not trying to warp anything. So that's it. Just want to show you that. Thought it was a pretty cool little toy. Alright. There you go. I don't think you can get any better than that. That's pretty straight. Again, no one's ever going to see it, but I would, so it's fixed. Now all I got to do is I'm going to clean it out real good. Clean all the extra dirt that's on the surface out with water, and clean it out real good. Dry it out with air, and then I'll probably take a heat gun and just make sure I get all the moisture out. And then I'm going to put that internal frame coating inside here while I got this open. And then I'll weld the patch back in, and then I'll come back in through the front like I did on the other one with a little tab and get the undersides of this weld. And it'll be done. I'm done with this rocker.